Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I am Vasilikis and in this video I will show you my high-end eyeshadow palettes. I have also done the same video for my drugstore palettes. I will have a card here. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite high-end eyeshadow palette, and also share this video with a friend that likes eyeshadows. If you want to see more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also click on the notification bell to get notified for my latest videos. And without further ado, let's get started with the palettes. Let's start with some Kat Von D palettes. Before we start with the palettes, I want to say that I will no longer use these palettes or any Kat Von D products in my videos because I don't want to support this brand anymore. I don't agree with her choices and I don't want to use her products anymore in my videos. 2 weeks ago I posted my 3 looks in 1 palette with this palette here. This is the anniversary palette that they have released I think 3 months ago, and I posted that video because you requested some makeup looks and I didn't want you to feel that I ignore what you say in the comments, and I wanted to show you what you can do with this palette. This palette was not very cheap and I didn't like all the eyeshadows. I have done a review about it if you want to see more why I didn't like this palette. I also have the Saint and Sinner palette that I adore. The packaging is unbelievable. I like it. It is so unique and different. The mirrors are not so practical. I didn't like these 2 eyeshadows that we have. They are eyeshadow toppers and I didn't like them on top of a lot of these eyeshadows. Let's continue with Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I have the Modern Renaissance and also the Subculture palette, and Modern Renaissance is one of my most favorite palettes. You can create a lot of different eye looks with this palette and it is very easy to use. On the other hand, we have Subculture that it is so difficult for me to work with the eyeshadows. I have a lot of fallout. If I don't tap the excess off, I apply a lot of product on my eyes and then I'm not able to blend the eyeshadows and it is just so hard to use these shades. The shimmery eyeshadows are not easy to use without your fingers or a sponge tip applicator. I love the color story of this palette. Let me know if you have a favorite Anastasia Beverly Hills palette and if you have tried any of the new palettes that they have. Next we have the Sahara palette by Juvia's Place, and this is the only palette that I have by the brand. This palette is so good. I like the matte eyeshadows, the shimmer eyeshadows. They work very nice with a dry brush. They are very easy to use and you can create a lot of different looks. This is not as expensive as other palettes that I have and it works very nice for me. Last Christmas my husband gave me for a present this palette here, the Desert Dusk palette by Huda Beauty. The matte eyeshadows of this palette are grainy. They are not as soft as in other palettes and I was very concerned, guys. I thought this palette would be a disaster. Also, if you swatch the eyeshadows, they are not swatching very nice, but I am happily surprised that the matte eyeshadows blend very nice on my eyes. The shimmer eyeshadows, they are not as intense as you see them in the pan. If you use them with a finger, you can have the intensity that you see here, but with a dry brush you will not be able to have exactly the intensity that you see here. They have also released a new palette with a lot of nude colors, but I don't think I will get that one because it is a little bit boring for me. I prefer having some pops of colors in my eyeshadow palettes so I can do something different every day. Let's continue with some eyeshadow palettes by Too Faced. I have here the Sugar Pop palette. This packaging is so cute and pretty and adorable in my opinion. I like this palette because I can do colorful looks and also some more natural looks. Next we have the Sweet Peach palette. This palette has some very nice eyeshadows and I like using it. The only thing that I don't like is the scent. This is the reason that I have stopped buying a lot of products by Too Faced because they have scents for everything now. The eyeshadows are super pigmented and beautiful and easy to use. I just don't like the scent. This is the Natural Love and this is a limited edition eyeshadow palette. It is so romantic and pretty. This palette has everything for an everyday look and the eyeshadows work very nice. Next we have an eyeshadow palette by Vizard. It is the Trist palette. This is the first palette that I have by Vizard and I was very surprised. I have done also a review about this palette. These two palettes are by the company Juvia. I also have some brushes and they are great. This is a Cocoa Blend palette and this little guy here is the Caramel Melange and this is a mini palette with 6 eyeshadows. You can also find it in the same size like this one here, and as you can see here you have 6 eyeshadows from the original palette. This little palette is by MAC and it contains 9 eyeshadows. It is a purple times 9 eyeshadow palette and as we can see we have a purple color story. These are not my favorite eyeshadows by MAC. They are not very pigmented. Unfortunately I didn't like this palette and it was a gift. I have one palette by Violet Voss. This is a Flamingo eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadows blend very nice. I think this is a very nice palette for a makeup beginner that wants to play with colorful eyeshadows. My least favorite eyeshadow from this palette is eyeshadow Seashell. It is a little bit chalky and also I don't like the fallouts from the micro glitter. I have a custom palette by Zerva Cosmetics. This is the brand that I was using when I first started with makeup and these look amazing on photos, for television, for videos, and they have very nice pigmentation. I know this is not a Drugstore brand, but I forgot to mention this palette in my Drugstore collection, so I will just quickly mention this palette in this video. This is the 35S palette and I was using it a lot. I stopped using this palette because it started staining my skin and also my brushes, and I have it around 4 years, so I just said okay, it's not worth it. I don't want to irritate my skin. This palette is discontinued and I think that they have a new palette with a lot of colorful eyeshadows. I don't think that I will get that palette because I want to try some eyeshadows by BH Cosmetics. Next we have some eyeshadow palettes by Urban Decay. This is the Nocturnal Shadow Box that I also have a review on my channel if you want to see how this eyeshadow palette works. I'm not very sure if it is available anymore and you can find it somewhere online. I also have the Naked Basics palette that you can see I have used it. I have been loving this palette. It looks so gross. I have this palette all the time in my professional makeup kit and I use these 3 eyeshadows to define the brows of my clients because they blend very nice and they give nice definition, and if I do any mistakes I can just use a spoolie or a q-tip and correct the brows. The eyeshadows stay all day, they are very long lasting, and of course I have some Naked palettes. This one is one of the first palettes that I loved and I have used it quite a bit, and I have also hit pan here. I remember I was using these 2 eyeshadows in my crease, guys. Shimmery eyeshadows. What was I thinking? And now I can see that this palette is not so practical because we have only 2 matte eyeshadows and now I only use matte eyeshadows in my crease. I think that the Naked 2 palette is the least used palette of the 3. This is the Naked 3 palette and this is the last palette that I have bought from the Naked collection by Urban Decay. This is a different color story and as you can see you can create some more pinkish eye looks. They have also released the Cherry palette that has replaced this one here, and this one is discontinued forever. Let me know if you're going to buy the Cherry palette and if you like the color story of that palette. I don't think I will get it because it has a cherry scent. I recently got this palette by September Rose Cosmetics. This is the Slash palette. I got this one because I wanted wanted the very fun eyeshadows that we have in this palette. I have used the pink eyeshadows. I don't like that some eyeshadows are staining my skin and they didn't have a warning on their website or even on the packaging. They don't say that these eyeshadows may stain your eyes. If I knew that, I wouldn't buy this palette. And also, these eyeshadows have stained two of my brushes and I'm not very happy about that. This custom palette is by Inglot and I got it many years ago from Cyprus when Inglot came to Limassol, and I was so excited because I couldn't find Inglot makeup products anywhere. I got these colors because I wanted to recreate the makeup look that Alison has in Pretty Little Liars in the intro of the series. Let me know if you have a favorite product by Inglot. I think they have a black gel eyeliner that a lot of people say it is great. Let me know if you have tried that and if you like it. I don't like the packaging because I am closing all the time my fingers in the magnets. Next we have a Smashbox palette, and this is a cover shot Ablaze eye palette. This palette is very nice and the eyeshadows blend so easy. I hope you like this video and let me know if you want to see a specific palette in a makeup tutorial, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!